President Trump's first stop on his 9-day trip overseas will be Saudi Arabia, where he looks to strengthen ties with the Muslim world. The president's going to be delivering a major speech to Muslim leaders, urging them to confront radical Islam and to ramp up efforts to defeat ISIS. President Trump is also expected to strike a $110 billion arms deal with Saudi Arabia, aimed at arming the Saudis against threats such as Iran. Joining me right now, Fox News strategic analyst, Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters. Colonel Peters, good to have you back on the show. What do you think we're going to see this week?
Well, it's going to be exciting because President Trump is starting off with one of the most action-packed and really risky foreign policy trips that a new president has taken in my lifetime. I mean, this is really Saudi Arabia, Israel, stopping the Vatican, but NATO, G7. And the one I really worry about up front is Saudi Arabia, because the Saudis are literally going to give our president the royal treatment.
Okay.
Because they know what they want.
And you worry about that. Why?
Well, I'm worried about it because the Saudis are nefarious. They're utterly duplicitous. They make the Iranians look like models of integrity. And the Saudis want what they've always wanted. They want American soldiers to bleed for them. They want us to do more in Syria. They want us to help them in Yemen, where their military has been a disaster. And, of course, they want us to be much more confrontational with Iran. Now, I'm all for doing any of those things that are in our interest. But the Saudi military, I mean, the Saudis don't give blood. And I resent the fact that they expect us to die for them. Now, that said, where we have a commonality of interest, then it makes sense to cooperate. But it's important that President Trump not be suckered by all the flattery they'll give him, by the praise, by the spectacles. This is when he's got to really work the art of the deal and make sure that we get something back.
I think you got to put some faith in him in that, you know, he certainly does want American interests to be most forefront here, and you don't want any American to die needlessly in any way. So you have to be very cautious about the military commitments you're making. That said, you know, as we've talked about, Colonel Peters, the United States of America for decades, going back to World War II, has basically run the world, right? We have been the policeman, the cop for the entire world. And we set that aside in the last 8 years. We made a choice to be isolationist. It didn't work, Colonel Peters. So now things, they have to change.
Look, Obama was a disastrous foreign policy president. We all agree on that. But that does not automatically mean that President Trump's going to be a great one. You know, we all want him to be, but you know, he's got to control his impulses.
So this is a test. You see this as a test, a very important time in his presidency right now.
Does he read his briefing books? Is he overconfident? Can he control his impulses? Because again, they study him. And the Saudis especially are going to flatter him and promise him the sun, the moon, and the stars. But we want to know, what do we get from the Saudis?
I hear you, and these are important questions. I would say, you know, you don't get to be a billionaire by falling for things. So hopefully he's smarter than that. I think he is, Colonel Peters.
Trish, I hope he is. But then you have the spectacle with Lavrov and Kislyak last week. I mean, the president, he's got great talents, but he needs to master self-discipline. Now, Israel's not going to be a problem because they need us, they want us, they're angry at us about the intelligence compromise, but they'll get past that.
Self-discipline's a good word. I've got to exercise some here, too, because we've got commercial breaks coming up, and we're going to pay some bills. Colonel Peters, thank you so much.